Greetings, everyone. I am your man, BT, and this is another installment, or should I say another episode of Oso Lounge TV. The gentleman I have on the split screen with me is none other than BruceBeats. I'll let you have it in a few seconds, BruceBeats. But the reason I do this, just to fill everybody in, if you're watching this video for the first time or this is your first episode, since we're in lockdown with the quarantine, COVID-19. It's a pandemic across the country. We are on lockdown. So I'm reaching out to all of my artists that I've worked with or I look to work with, such as BruceBeats. I've used some of his music on one of my podcasts, and man, you got some banging beats. So
appreciate that, man.
But the reason I do this is to reach out to the artists and see how they're doing and see how they are coping, if they are using this as a positive time to, just kind of regroup, stay in the lab, create more music, new beats, what have you, or work on that book or whatever it is that these creatives have in mind that they're working with or that they've already put out and they would just love to talk about. So that's what this platform is about, BruceBeats. So I'm going to turn it over to you, BruceBeats. Introduce yourself.
What's up, BT? Like I said, my name is BruceBeats. I actually go by Bruce. Some people do call me BruceBeats, but yeah, on a more personal basis, I just go by Bruce.
Okay.
And I'm a musician, man. I've been a musician my entire life. I started playing piano when I was 8 years old. I started producing for TV film not too long ago, and well, I guess you could say about 3 years ago now. So I've done a lot of things in a very short time period. But now I've been teaching for over a decade, and I wanted to do something unique for the producer community, which is what I'm doing full time nowadays.
Awesome. Well, hey man, let's just say the music that I was introduced to through iTunes. If you don't know about this brother's music, you go pull him up on iTunes, or do you have a SoundCloud? We'll get into that. But man, I found some of his music. I was like, dang. Well, let me back up a little bit. I was introduced to him. He's offering a MasterClass, and I think Instagram looks at the things that you look at. So they say, okay, this would be a perfect fit for you. And then I saw it as an advertisement. I was like, yo. And then I heard, I was like, oh, this is dope. So I quickly went to iTunes and checked it out. I was like, dang, this is a bad brother. And
Thanks,
so
bro.
He's offering a free masterclass. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but right now we're going to get to know Bruce a little bit more so he could tell us about him, and then we'll get him to dive into more about the masterclass and, a little bit more about all that good stuff, because that's what we do.
Yes, sir.
So tell me, Bruce, what got you started in music?
My mom. So, man, I like I said, I started playing piano when I was 8 years old, and I remember making excuses for my mom not to have to go to the piano lesson because it was boring, right? But, I got into middle school, and I kind of knew music, so I picked that as an elective, and it just went on from there. I was the nerd in marching band who, like, geeked out on music theory and playing the trumpet at the halftime shows, pep rallies, like all that type of stuff. And at that time, I actually joined a Latin reggae cumbia fusion band.
Nice. And
we did a lot of touring. And so I went to college for 2 years, and then I stopped because we were touring a lot. And so we ended up touring. I was in the band for 7 years. We ended up touring for about 4 of them, maybe 5 of them or so. And, primarily as a trumpet player and a rapper. And, somewhere along the line, I decided to take my music really, really seriously. Right. Went back to school, studied jazz, got my degree in jazz studies. And right after that, just thinking about my future, started producing for TV film because production is always something that I wanted to delve into. And I was able to get, some pretty awesome tracks on Netflix, on ESPN, on Fox Sports. And maybe a lot of the tracks that you heard
Mm-hmm.
on Spotify and on Apple Music or on iTunes because
Mm-hmm.
it's all up there.
Right.
A lot of those tracks were made specifically for TV film, and they just kind of gave me the go-ahead to be able to distribute them publicly. They don't do that all the time,
Right.
but with some people are nice enough
Uh-huh.
and lenient enough with the license that they let me do that. So a lot of the stuff that actually pretty much the majority of everything that's on there was made for TV film, and they let me, put it out publicly.
Mm-hmm.
And after I got into this TV film game, and when I was looking into other producers, trying to learn, getting my EQ chops up, my mixing chops up, my structuring chops up, like everything like that, I noticed that a lot of producers struggled with the musicality of things. Like they had great ears. They knew how to like be in the box with the frequencies. They knew everything like that, plugins, everything.
Right.
But when it came down to actually playing and being like, okay, this is an A minor chord, let's do a 2-5 to E minor, they're like, what? Yeah, it's a rap. And so I'm hearing these guys struggling. I'm looking at them like move notes around in the piano roll and stuff. And I'm like, dude, you are so talented, bro. Like I can help you so much right now. And so I decided to do that, man. And that's really what the masterclass is all about, to be honest.
Praise God you're doing that, brother. Because Bruce, having lived in LA for over 15 years and being in the music game, you come across so many, like you said, talented producers, people that's been in the music game that make great music by ear.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, oh, you played? It was like, yeah, I ear it though. And be like, what is ear it though? There's like little notes and be like, I have to just play do 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 do. And I was like, oh, so you don't read music? He's like, no, dog, I don't. So I had to learn that real quick. So there are talented people that can play by ear. But when it comes to like reading music or something like that, or if you tell them, I need you to play this, they're like, okay, give me a little time. I got to work it out. But they eventually get it. So I know what you're talking about. But dang, bro, kudos to you. Keep up that good work. And hey, I may get with you after this because I was just telling no, for real. I was just telling my boys, I said, because they're all artists, all artists.
Awesome, man.
Creative. They're tapping into their creative genes. And so I just said,
beautiful.
Hey, and way to diversify yourself as an artist or a creative, you have to learn. I recommend you learn an instrument. And I said, if you don't pick up a guitar, if you learn a piano, I think that's the foundation. I could be wrong, but I believe if you learn the piano, you get the ear and you learn it, then you can start playing these other instruments. And so it's like, oh, okay. I think my youngest, because he's the one that's big into doing the production stuff. So, we'll chop it up afterwards, but that's great that you pursued it. And let me guess, because when I was young, I was always passionate for music and I never did. I was in the band in middle school. And like you said, you're in the band? What?
Yeah.
Football. But I played football. But then I played in the band my 7th grade year. So it was kind of like, but then as we got older, we got into high school, the cool dudes were the people in the band. Then we went to college. It was like, especially if you go to a HBCU like Southern and you're in the band. Oh,
definitely. Well, because it's killing.
You got all the ladies. You be like, oh, you in the band? Oh, you play football? Tell me a little bit more about the band. And then they leave you. So, but that's what's up. So, you know what? This is not more about me. I want to hear more about this masterclass. What gave you the idea? I mean, because you kind of just touched on it for a second. Go ahead and tell a bit about the masterclass, what you offer, because when I saw it, I was like, yo, this is a free masterclass that this brother is offering his time and his energy and knowledge. Talk about that.
Sure. So like I said, when I was the idea came in my mind when I was looking at other really talented producers with amazing ears, like struggle with very, very simple things like major chord, minor chord, major 7. They had no idea what they were doing. And then they would figure it out. And then they would have to go through that entire process again for the next chord. And then the next chord. And then the next chord. I'm like, dude. So I was like, you know what? Let me put something together for the community. And so basically, the problem here is that a lot of people feel like, and this is why they don't have that knowledge, because they do one of two things. They go into they go into private lessons, which teach it, and you don't necessarily need to know how to read music. Like, you don't need to know how to read music. You just need to know a very specific skill set. Like, that is the skill set. So private lessons don't teach you that right off the bat. They teach you Für Elise, they teach you Mozart, they teach you Jingle Bells, they teach you here's middle C, and then you're like, bruh, I want to learn what I want to learn, man. You know? And you don't get there and you end up giving up, right? So then you go to YouTube, but YouTube just gives you like pieces of the pie. It doesn't give you the whole thing. So you're still left confused. And so I'm like, man, if you just knew this specific skill set, and if you knew how to play with grips, because I had that skill set, but when I learned how to play with grips on the piano, that completely changed my world. It completely opened up my whole thing. And I remember running home to my father that night, and I'm like, Dad, I was still living at home with my parents, and I was like, yo, Dad, like, this is the answer. All I got to do is put my hand right here and my left hand here, and like, boom, I just sound good. Like, I sound like a professional. And my dad's not a musician. He was like, oh, that's cool. But you know, like, you know how that feels. Like, imagine if your son came and told you that. You'd be like, yeah, like, okay, let me hear what you got, because you're a musician. So, like, that was the thing that happened to me. And I'm like, man, I want to give that to other people. Now, there's only one other person I know who's teaching how to play with grips. And I actually studied with him for a year. His name is Jared Hall. He's another trumpet player. He went to UM with me. Like I said, I took private lessons with him for a year on trumpet. And he went on to teach grips as well, but he's teaching it for jazz cats. He's teaching it for jazz instrumentalists who's looking to improvise, who's looking to write tunes. You know what I mean? Not songs and tracks.
Much broader thing.
For me, I'm looking at producers. I'm looking at our modern day songwriters, because that's my bag. You know, that's what I'm good at.
That's your lane.
That's what I'm really passionate about. You know what I mean? And those are my people. So I want to help them out. You know what I mean? So and that's basically what this masterclass does, man. It teaches you how to play with grips. And
what are grips? Explain for somebody that just comes on and they're like, what is he talking about, grips? Tell me about that. Explain that for me.
No, easy. So grips is basically a 4-note shape that you put in your right hand. And then you take your left hand and you play one bass note, and boom, that's the answer. So I got my piano I got my keyboard on the piano, my laptop on the keyboard, but like, I'll demonstrate. Like, if I take this one finger and I play, if I take this one finger and I play A, and then I take a 4-note shape, boom, I got a beautiful chord, right? Whoa. But see, the dope thing is that one shape gives me that chord, but it'll also give me a different chord. All I have to do is change the bass note. So it's like the same shape gives you multiple sounds. And so you can make an entire progression. All you have to do is change the left-hand note. Like, it's that easy.
Is that something that you were talking about on your commercial to the masterclass?
The commercial to the masterclass, I was talking about one grip specifically. It's actually my favorite one. It's called the Lydian grip. And see, the dope thing is that there's only 8 shapes. There's only 8, there's only 8 shapes, and you play in all the keys and all the chords that you dream of. And the cool thing is that 4 of them are the ones that you use 80 to 90% of the time. Wow. And the other 4 are just like those really cool, like, passing ones. You know what I mean? So literally 4 shapes will get you every single song that you hear on the radio, and even hipper, because like these are shapes straight out of jazz and gospel language. So
okay, well, hey, I'm definitely gonna have my son to hook up with you. Well, I know that you're offering a masterclass during these quarantine times, since we are on lockdown and we can't go anywhere. Of course, you have the masterclass. Are you offering any other type of private sessions or anything like that? What are you offering? Anything in addition to that?
Sure. So on the masterclass, I'll show you, like I said, exactly how to play with grips. I'll show you only the must-know theory that you need to know. And I'll show you exactly how you can actually play this stuff. So you could just put it in your muscle memory and set it and forget it. You don't have to think about it again, right? And at the end of the masterclass, if you do want to work more closely with me, I do have a program where I will teach you how to play with grips. I'll teach you how to be basically a professional musician, from zero to hero. Like no more YouTube, no more private lessons. Like you don't need any of that garbage. And I won't give you any fluff. Like I'll be completely honest. I don't teach you how to read music because you don't need to know how to read music. If you are looking to read music, that's a different skill set. But I teach you the stuff that you need to know, like no for release, no Mozart, just like the hip stuff, the butter stuff, the Glasper, the Moonchild, the Brian McKnight, the Erykah Badu, the Chris Browns. You know what I mean? And so if you do go through the MasterClass and you like that content, I do offer a program that I actually have highly discounted right now because of everything that's going on. Right. So we went on lockdown and I said, you know what? A lot of musicians are out here. They have day jobs and they may not have their job right now, unfortunately, because life
you had to come off the road.
Just throws stuff at you. You know what I mean? And even musicians who are touring, they don't have that gig right now. You know, so we're at home. It's tough times. It's tough times for everybody. And so I said, you know what? How can I do my part for the community where I can still make an impact? You know, and so I actually reduced the barrier to entry by 60%. So for those who are interested, you can watch the MasterClass. And if you do want to learn more, you know, you can get in contact with me and I can show you exactly how to do it.
And I will put that at the end of this video so you can have all of the means to catch up with Bruce and find out about the MasterClass, connect with him on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever avenue or platform he's on, you're going to get it all. And I'm definitely going to hook up with you, Bruce, because I'm going to have my son sit down and watch this because, you know, I just believe that will enhance their creativity. You know, if they learn how to play something, oh, man, because
game over.
Yeah, exactly. Because just me coming from the music industry, being on the marketing and promotion side, it's been times when I've sat in the studio just watching a vibe session and to see them start from, you know, 2-3 beats and then you leave and you come back and you hear the full production, you just like, yo, this is dope. And I mean, just to see the process. And then I was watching a video the other day on YouTube, Redman's producer in New York, I can't think of the name, big dude. But anyway, he was, they showed him do a beat from the very beginning. He could play and he was just listening to something. He was just in the vibing. He was like, do. Just turn up something and this twitch and we had a little beat going and then it do. And then by the time that video was over, the beat was just so fire. I was like, So tell me what, I mean, I know that you said your parents weren't musicians, but you came up in music through grade school. How can I say this? Music is so, I mean, you said you got serious about it, but what really made that click or that change where you were just saying, you know what, this is what I love? I mean, because I love music, and I'll just tell you, when I got out of college, I was working at Blockbuster Music, and I just said, you know what, I want to pursue this more. I want to do more than just working in a record store, because I was selling music. I mean, at the time I was in high school, Outkast had just come out with their first Southern Playalistic album. Boy, and
great album, bro.
That was a banging album, and every time
that's the joint right there.
I want to get high. But anyway, I was selling that so much. I was just like, I want to be on the other side, marketing and promoting and doing this and getting it out to the world about these great artists. And so once I graduated college, I moved back to Dallas, worked for Polygram Group Distribution, worked there for a couple of years. And then I just said, you know what, I want more. So I just got up and moved to LA and started working out there in the music industry. And man, it was just a thing of, not until I said, once I got through college and I was done playing football, not until then I was just like, you know what, because I had two loves, football and music. And once I saw that football really wasn't going as, because, you know, everybody wants to make it to the pros, but that wasn't happening for the kids. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to start doing more of my music. And then that's when I just said, you know what? I have no obligations. So I moved to LA. And so that's when I really went hard. And so back to you, when did you really, I mean, I know you told a quick story, but what was it that really just made you just say, you know what, I'm doing this and I think I like this? I mean, 'cause I know you said you were in a group, but I know sometimes I've worked with artists and they're kind of not all the way in, you know, they're just like, okay, I'll play. Okay, some girls. Okay, good. And it's kind of like the thing that's going right now, but they're not serious. So tell me about that.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Yeah, my parents aren't musicians, but I spent my entire life around musicians. Like until I moved, and I didn't realize this until I moved and completely uprooted and left my hometown. I'm from Miami, Florida. I came up to Wisconsin. I didn't realize this, but every single one of my friends who I had ever hung out with in my entire life was a musician. They were either street musicians self-taught or they were a formally trained musician in school with me. And so my family wasn't musicians, but every single person I associated with were musicians. Every job that I had, I was teaching music or I was gigging on a cruise ship or gigging here and there or whatever, you know? So it's like, it has always been a part of my life. But when I really decided to take it seriously, it's funny that you asked, because there was a student who was he just wanted to talk to me before he joined the program. He was like, yo, I love this. This is really great. This is what I need. I just want to talk to you real quick. And so we got on an IG phone call and I'm talking, he's actually out in London. So he's like, I love muffs, you know, he's super cool dude. But he's like, man, I just feel like I'm late, you know, like I'm doing this and I want to learn, but I feel like I'm late. And I'm like, if you don't mind me asking, bro, how old are you? He's like, man, I'm 20. I'm like, you're 20, dude. Really? I'm like, let me tell you this. Yeah. I was like, let me tell you this. I started playing when I was 8. I taught myself guitar, played trumpet, 16, blah, 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 19, 20, 21. I'm touring. When I was 21 is when I was like, yo, I got to take this shit. Sorry about that. I was like, yo, I got to take this serious, man, because like, this is something that I really love doing. And it's obviously having a positive impact on the world. Right. And I was like, man, I got to do this full force. And so it's funny because that's when I decided to take music seriously, but not when I decided to take teaching seriously. And I'll tell you why, because when I would teach, I would teach mostly kids. Like I had teenagers, I had adults, but you know, most of the game for private lessons is kids, just like me. Their parents make you go. And I thought I hated teaching because I wasn't teaching, I was babysitting. Like the kid would be there because his mom made him be there. And so he wasn't shedding. He was not interested in that. He was interested in, you know, lollipops, you know? And so, but I noticed that when I would teach like the teenager who was like super into it, or I would teach the adult who wanted to, you know, come back and get his thing on again, right? When they would come back and they'd be into it, filled me up. I'm like, yo, this is the bomb. And I just noticed like I had this thing about teaching that it was really natural for me. And they would always tell me that. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing something right. This is cool, right? But I never decided to make it a thing, like for real. It was just something I always did because I needed some extra money. And I'm like, yo, let me play. Let me do my rapping. Let me do my trumpet, this and that. I got better. You know, like I said, I went to school. I went hard. When I was 21, I was like John Coltrane. I was practicing like 8, 12, 14 hours a day, like all the time. This is really what I wanted to do. And, you know, to be honest with you, I just brought this program into the world publicly, officially, a month ago, like literally 30 days ago. Wow. But I've been working on it.
I feel special then.
I've been working on it since December, like putting it all together, tested it out with a small group of students. They loved it. I'm like, okay, this thing is ready for the world now. But I got this idea 3 years ago when I saw a producer struggling, and something clicked, and I don't know who spoke to me or what spoke to me or how it happened. But at the end of November, I said, I got to do this. and I dropped everything. I was literally in the middle of like this promotion with Beats for Rappers, and I was doing some like TV film stuff. I literally dropped everything I was doing, and I put my 100% focus into this, and it's still that way. And I'm helping a lot of people. I'm really, really proud to say that I'm helping a lot of people. The hundreds of people who have come into this program are absolutely loving it, and it just really humbles me. And it's like, because to be honest with you, when I was in college, they would have us make songs, write tunes with a pencil and a piece of paper. Whoa. And I'm like, dude, you want me to reharmonize this melody, but you're not even giving me a piano. Like, at least give me a trumpet or like a recorder.
Yeah.
Something, right? You want me to make music with a pencil and a paper. Like that's part of the process, or that's like after I like make it. And so I'm like, man, and I had been teaching for like 8 years at that point. And so I kind of had like some teaching chops, and I'm looking at this guy teach me. I'm like, you could teach me better, bro. You know? And so my whole goal is to not be that teacher. I want to flip that on its head. I want to teach from a more intuitive standpoint, the way that I would have liked to have been taught. And the feedback that I'm getting from my students, I'm honored and humbled to say that I am doing that, which makes me just want to do it at an even grander level, you know?
Of course. And you know what? Because you love what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Because you love what you're doing, that I believe that energy, you exude that energy.
Appreciate that, man.
Because it's I can think back to jobs that I did when I was outside of the industry. I was just there. I was just like, I was in the cubicle one day, and this was right before I had stepped out of the industry for a second, and my boss was in the other cubicle, and I was miserable, and she knew it. She looked at me one day. She said, "Brian, how you doing?" I said, "Not good." Just like that, for real. I said, "Not good." She said, "Let's go talk." That day, I quit.
Ooh.
Because I was just like, I wasn't feeling it, and you know, my energy when I was on the phone, I was like, "Hello, yeah, so." I was going through the motions. I was just a shell. But then as soon as I went back into the music industry, it was like, "Oh, BT's back." I was like, "Yeah," you know. But you know, so it's where your passion is. So your passion is in teaching or just music related stuff, and then the kids are just the byproduct, and then they get the benefit from that energy that you give them, instead of just being that boring old trumpet teacher, kind of like that commercial. This is your eye. This is your eye when it's red. You know, one of those things. You know, it's not that monotone, boring teacher. You know, you come in with energy, excitement, and you've already done some things. So kids see that, and they probably have already YouTube you before they come into the class, and they're like, "Oh, yo, man, you heard this? Oh, man, I'm about to go to that class tonight, G. Yeah, he about to train me, bro. I'm about to be the next big Puff Daddy or big producer." You know, whatever producer that's hot right now. I don't know what producers are hot, but I mean, I do, but you know, I don't want to run down the list of them. But kids are so savvy on the internet now, so it's a thing of, once they connect with you and you bring in that energy and you teaching them some stuff so they can be dope. Come on, why wouldn't kids?
See, the thing that's super dope is like, what's awesome is that I have a free group, right? Piano for Producers, my free group, and then I have my private group for my students. And my free group, I get value in there every single week, multiple times a week, just dropping little videos and things like that. Same videos on my IG, but we could get a little more intimate in that group. And what happens is that people will watch the masterclass and they'll make something. Like they'll make a beat and they're like, "Yo, I can't believe I just made that. Like, this is not a sample. This is me." And then they'll be like, "Yo, I got to do it, bro. Like, I've never made anything like this before. Like, teach me more," you know? And I'm like, "Yo, I'd be glad to," you know what I mean? So like, that's the type of stuff that happens. And it lights me up because I'm like, because I indirectly made that music too, right? Exactly. And I made that, I kind of made that music through you. And
you inspired them so much that they made the music.
Yeah. And like, that's so cool, man. That's like indirect teamwork. You know what I mean? And so I love it when I get a DM from either a paid student or a student or a student who just saw my stuff for free, and they're like, yo, I just made this off that Hack 111 video, bro. That was so dope. Check this out. I'm like, yo, that's fire. And a lot of the times I can't even recognize that it was my little trick.
Right.
Because everybody has their own thing, right? Like I could show you BT, like, yo, just play a major 4 over a minor scale. And then, but the way you use it is going to be completely different from the way I use it.
Right.
So like, why hold anything back? You know what I mean? I hate when people do that. Like, yo, I'm going to keep the good tricks for myself. No, dude, you're just selfish, you know?
Exactly. And folks peep that. Young kids, when you're working with kids, they peep game quicker than you think they do. I mean, because I got 3 young boys. I mean, 21, 19, 17. And I know if I'm ever trying to get over, I don't, but I'm just saying, or if somebody's trying to get over on them, they peep game long before it ever happens. And they're just like, yo, really?
Yeah.
So, but on the flip side of that, if you're giving, they see that, you know, they may not come right back to you and say, hey, Mr. Bruce, thank you for this. But when they give you back a dope beat, that shows you right there. I'm listening. I'm listening. I may not tell you, hey, I'm listening, but through the product of my beat that I'm giving you back to listen to get your approval, you know I'm listening.
Exactly.
So, yo, that's dope, man. I love that, man. I love that. So, hey,
Appreciate
I'm
that,
excited about this class. I want to take the class, and I ain't even, I'm not even a beat maker. But you know what? I was back when I was in my younger years, I was passionate about making beats. I would be, you know, beating on the desk and doing all that.
Yeah.
And it was like, Brian, man, you can make some dope beats, man. And I was just like, no, I'm gonna be behind the scenes. So it was kind of like I went into the marketing and promotion side of it. But I would go in the studio and dibble and dabble a little bit, and you know, they'd be like, hey, man, you should do this. And I'm like, you know, I had that one thought of, yeah, I'm too old for this, man. I'm gonna just stay on the marketing promotion side. But I see it in my kids, so I want to nurture that, because it's just a thing of where your passion is, that's where you're going to give all your energy and your time. And when you're talking about, you know, you've been doing this for such a long time, you've done and surpassed that 10,000 hours. I know, like Malcolm Gladwell talks about in his book, The Outliers. So, man, keep doing what you're doing, bro. So, man, I could talk to you all day, but the thing is, I want to make these videos. Some of them have run longer. When I'm talking to some of these artists and they're just talking and talking, you don't want to stop them. But I want to keep it short and sweet so that people watch the video over and over and over.
Yeah.
So by us keeping it short and sweet, they'll want more later. You know what I mean? It's the strategy to it. So my question for you is, my last question is going to be for you is, you see these young aspiring, this is my reach one, teach one. I have it with all the artists that I talk to and the people that I have come on. The segment of reach one, teach one. Somebody is coming to you, like you said, and they want to get into the game. Kind of like the example you gave earlier. Give me that one thing that you quickly address or tell them that if they're serious, blah, blah, blah. Kind of reach one, teach one. Let me take you under my wing. Let me share some things with you. What is that one thing?
When you say they want to get into the game, do you mean they want to get into the music making game? They want to get into the industry? They want to get into TV film? They want to be a better musician? What are they trying to do?
Let me frame it a little bit better. Mr. Bruce, I've been watching you and I like what you do, and you know, I don't have a music background, but I want to do this. What can I do to be like you?
Find somebody who is doing exactly what you want to do and learn from them. That is the quickest way. The quickest way. If you look at any of the best musicians, they all had a mentor. If you look at Arturo Sandoval from Cuba, trumpet player, innovator, right?
Yes.
His mentor was Dizzy Gillespie, innovator.
I did not know that. Oh.
Yeah. Took him under his wing and said, you're my little dude.
That's what's up.
And he went on to innovate just like his mentor did.
Right.
And I'll tell you that the way that I learned
Mm-hmm.
was through having Brian Lynch, basically,
Okay.
was my mentor.
Okay.
And like most of the stuff that I learned from this man
Mm-hmm.
was indirect.
Okay.
He sat there, he played.
Mm-hmm.
I looked, I said, wow. I'll be honest with you, he was not the best teacher. And
Right.
I knew that. And
Right.
I wouldn't even mind. And I think he knows that too.
But you were
But the
hungry.
thing is, yeah, the thing is, I sat there and I looked at him and I taught myself because
Right.
he taught me
Mm-hmm.
through doing. You
Right.
know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
so I would sit there and I would watch him. And this anything that I have excelled in personally, even
Mm-hmm.
if it's not music,
Mm-hmm.
was finding a mentor. And boom, it's like they just download the information into me, and then I do it the way I do it because everybody's unique and you have your own stamp. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you do it, man. That is how you do it. Find somebody who's doing what you want to do,
Okay.
exactly how you want to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and learn from them,
That's dope.
whether directly or indirectly.
Yes. Hey.
So, for example, if
Yeah.
I want to sound like Stevie Wonder,
Mm-hmm.
guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to learn 50 Stevie Wonder songs.
There you go.
If I want to produce like Quincy Jones,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm going to learn all Quincy Jones songs.
There you
If
go.
I want to rap like M,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm going to transcribe M.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's that simple, but it's not easy. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. If it was easy, we all could do it.
Yes,
But
sir.
you know, hey, you got to put in that, what you call it, like I said earlier, the Gladwell 10,000 hours, man. You got to keep on, and that's what I'm teaching my sons and trying to be consistent with them and staying on them about that 10,000 hours. If you're consistent, it weeds out all the BS. If you're consistent about it, you know, hey, you start, you know, it just gets embedded so deep that you can't lose it. So
Yes, sir.
stick with it. So, hey,
So
man.
for those who do want to see the masterclass, I mean, you could
Yes.
find it at pianoforproducers.com/masterclass, and that's with a 4. So piano, the number 4, producers.com/masterclass. Just hit me up at BruceBeats all day on IG, on TikTok, and the Piano for Producers free group on Facebook as well. And again, piano for, the number 4, producers.
Okay. Yes. So I will also, if you missed any of Bruce's information, I will put it on the page, and also I will leave it in the notes on YouTube. And then I'm gonna just put it all over. I'm gonna put it at the beginning of this, Bruce, and then at the end, so nobody can say, "Hey, man, I didn't see the information." You're gonna have like 4 or 5 different places where it's gonna be. So watching this video, I appreciate you guys watching this video. Tell a friend that there was a wonderful producer on Oso Lounge TV, and that you want to join the class, that you want to get the private lessons, all of that good stuff, all of that, because Bruce took out of his busy day to sit down and have this live video chat. So, man, hey, I forgot to ask you, what are you doing during these times? And this is going to be the last question. What are you doing during these times since we're on lockdown? How are you maximizing this time? What are you doing?
I made a schedule for myself, and I have a to-do list every single day. Actually, this is some productivity hacks for y'all real quick.
Right.
You make one big goal a month, and then you categorize what you're going to do every single week to hit that goal. Yes. And then you break that down into your days. And here's the part where a lot of people fail. You commit to what you said you were going to do. So if you said you commit to what you said you were going to do, right? Because a lot of people won't break promises to other people, but they'll break the promises they make to themselves.
Oh, right? Man, you preaching over here.
So if you say tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go to the gym at 6 a.m., then tomorrow you wake up and you go to the gym at 6 a.m. Or whatever it may be. I just use that idea or that analogy because everybody makes that promise and breaks that promise. I'm not perfect. I do it too. Yeah. But the point is that one big goal is what you're shooting for, and you just break it down into chunks so you can get there. And so that's what I'm doing.
Yes. And it's not funny that you said that, but it's perfect that you said that, because I was just having this discussion earlier with my boys. I mean, and so you are preaching to the choir. Not to say preach to the choir, but it's good you're confirming it, because it's kind of like that saying of kids don't listen to their parents when their parents tell them, but if somebody else tells them that same thing, they be like, oh, oh, I never knew that. And I'm just telling you that. Oh, you did? So it's good because I'm going to have my boys watch this from beginning to end.
Dope.
And like I said, we're going to be connecting after this because if not all three, at least one of them is going to be in that class.
Oh, I love it, man.
I said my youngest one, he's making them beats, man. And so
He'll probably be the youngest in the class, man, because I'll be honest, I think the youngest in the class right now is the 20-year-old. Wow. And people are like from 20 to 50 in the class. I think like mid-50s is the oldest gentleman. I think he's about 55. And
I'm trying to pour into him now, man, because it's a thing of I don't want to wait because it's a thing of if you get that pouring into them now, so that 10,000 hours is not a quick feat. So if you're constantly doing it, like you said, you started at 8.
At 8.
Or before 8, because you had to get the desire, and then once 8, you got into it. So it's just a thing of you have surpassed that 10,000 hours. So I want to pour into my boys and make sure however I can feed that fire. So once they look back 5 years from now or 10 years from now, they can be like, oh yeah, Dad did this and that. And they're well into their 10,000 hours and they're making some money with it. I mean, because if they're passionate about it, it's making money for them and it's creating avenues for them, to appear here, to do this. So I'm excited about it. But hey, we're going to close this one out. Thank everybody for watching this. Bruce, I thank you for giving of your time.
Thank you, BT.
To do
Appreciate
this live
that, man.
chat. And we're going to hook up. Soon as this segment is over, oh yeah, we hooking up.
For
so
sure.
Everybody, thank y'all for watching. Bruce, thank you for a great chat. And hey, stay up during these quarantine times, man. And we are definitely going to be in touch, my brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. You too, man.